That was week one. That was better. Okay, we're out here clapping. So yeah. Welcome back, everyone. I know it's been a long time for those of you that are still subscribed. I really appreciate all of you. Thanks for sticking around. I know I kind of just made 2 videos and then kind of screwed off. But if you are new here, my name is Irvin Diaz, and this is a channel where we talk not just about tech sales, but we talk about personal growth, some of the other things that I do on the side from just tech sales, because I do have a life outside of my job, and I hope that some of those things can relate with you guys and hopefully help you guys out in the process. So if you're new here, please subscribe somewhere below, I think right here, and hit the notification bell so that way you can get notified whenever there's a new video, because from now on, there's gonna be a new video every single week, I promise. So let's get straight into it, right? What are we gonna talk about in this video? So really, this is just gonna be kind of like a quick, brief recap of why the hell I kind of just made 2 videos. One of them did pretty good, honestly, for my first video especially, and then I kind of just left. So I did try to help some of you guys out, though. Some of you that reached out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram, I did try to help out and make sure I answered any of your questions, and obviously continue to reach out if there's anything I can help with. Ultimately, that's the goal, just to provide you guys with a heck of a lot of value and make sure that I can answer any questions that you guys have. So without further ado, let's get to know what happened in the last couple of years, because it's been a while, and I've been wanting to come back onto YouTube, and I've been wanting to make a video, and honestly, I have like a whole list of things that I wanted to make, but I never did, and there's a couple reasons why. So last time you guys saw me, I was working at a job, tech sales, SDR role, where I was cranking out over 500 calls a day, and with all honesty, I mean, it was with a dialer. You guys can go back and look at that video, and I do mention it there. I know there's been quite a bit of questions about what dialer was I using. I was using Mojo dialer, but yeah, so that was kind of the last time that you guys saw me, and things were honestly, they were going decent. You know, I was cranking out phone calls, and I was hitting commission. I was doing decent. So however, things kind of got toxic in that company, and what I hope is that you guys can learn from some of the mistakes that I made in my career, and some of the things that I had to learn from, some of the red flags that I've noticed, and honestly, some of the crappy companies that I've worked for, which I don't care. I think, like, I'll say them in a video. That's fine. But yeah, that's for a future video. I will talk about that specific company, and even an even crazier one. So yeah, so I was there at that company for a while. Things got pretty toxic. One thing that you guys will notice in tech sales is that there are lots of companies that are just kind of like a revolving door, where it's like you either make it or you don't, or where you don't have any security. No matter how deep you get into the job, some of these companies, you just don't have security. And I think that that's kind of where it was with that company, right? Where I was hitting 100% of my quota every single month. I was even going over, cranking out crazy amount of phone calls, even going above and beyond on lots of them. And eventually what happened, they were going through some changes. Things were kind of getting toxic, honestly. And then 1 month, just because of there was a lot of like changes within their system, and there was teams where like we didn't have a manager for quite a bit of time. Numbers started dropping. However, I think at that point I was still at about 80% of my quota, for that month. What ended up happening is they had a meeting with us. They told us everybody who was over 70% of quota was going to be safe, because they understood that there have been some issues in the system and stuff like that. So yeah, right. I mean, it was end of month. That's what they said, that things were going to be okay. And then I show up to work the next day. I was working remote, but anyways, I log on, or I attempt to log on, and then my computer doesn't work. And I see that they basically kicked me out of everywhere. So called my manager and talked to him about it. And I said, hey, I don't know what's going on. Did I get fired, or like what happened, right? And he even told me, like, no, there's no reason why you should have been fired. Yesterday they said that if you're over 70% of quota, like, you're good, and you're like over 80. So I was like, okay. And then he's like, let me find out what's going on, and then I'll get back to you. I was like, okay, fine. He comes back, and then he's like, hey, so yeah, it turns out you've been let go. So it kind of just caught me by surprise. But yeah, I mean, that happened, and I will specifically be talking about that company in a future video, so that way you guys can know what is exactly that I'm talking about. But that happened. Going forward, I ended up taking a job as an account executive, just because things were already getting pretty toxic in that company. So I was already kind of looking, just in case, we were without a manager for a while. Our team leader kind of became our manager, but not really taking on the responsibilities of a manager, kind of just like floating around and stuff like that. But anyways, I was already looking, so I wasn't without a job for too long. I ended up taking a position at a local company right here in Chicago, for account executive. So figured it was a step up. Salary wasn't crazy, but like I was like, well, like I feel like as an SDR, like that's the next big thing that most SDRs aim for, which is moving on to an account executive role. Ended up taking the job. And yeah, I mean, I got into it. Things were pretty good for a while. But it was very much a startup company where there was like lack of structure. There was things that like just weren't making sense. Half of the sales team was based in Turkey. And it kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, like I took this job with the salary not being so great, because I was like, okay, I can learn from here. I can come in here, I can become an account executive, and I can learn, and add that to my resume if in the future I decide that I want to leave. But if I kind of felt like there wasn't much learning going on, like there was no sort of structure for training, and it was. I want to be careful with what I say, because overall, it was a good team. Like they were nice people, and the owner of the company was a super nice guy. But for what I wanted to do and where I was at with my career, I feel like there was just no growth for me there. Literally, like things were just like we were just kind of taking on any business, like like it wasn't even like we had our set customers. Like if they would, like if a company would come and be like, oh well, I'll pay you guys $300 for this. I can't do 1,000. I'll give you guys $400 for it. Like they would be like, yeah, just get it, just bring it in. Like just bring it in, fine. Just give them a discount and bring it in. So yeah, it was kind of it was a little weird. It was just a lack of structure for me. There was no learning. It was just kind of like, all right, well, just bring in whatever you can, and yeah, kind of just like learn as you go. And you try to teach yourself. So, and I'm all for self-initiative. I'm all for having, that initiative to teach yourself and go out of your way to learn things. I mean, that's exactly why we have resources like these, right? Where we have channels and we can learn from other people. And I'm all for that. But when you're working at a company and like, it feels like there's no sense of direction and you don't really know what's happening, or like where the company's going to be going, then it's a little worrying, especially if you want to have some stability in your life. And I feel like that's kind of what I wanted. So anyways, was at that company. I ended up having a decent conversation with the owner. I told him, like I said, really nice guy. I told him what I thought, and I just felt like it wasn't the right fit for me at the moment. And he ended up just saying, you know what, like, take a month, like, work part-time, look for your next opportunity. I know at the time I had a girlfriend and we were living together. He was like, I know you have like your girlfriend and everything, you know, make sure you guys are taken care of, continue to work part-time, finish closing any of the deals that you have still on your pipeline. And in the meantime, look for something else, take your interviews. So super appreciative over that. But yeah, so ultimately started interviewing at other jobs. Things were pretty tough because at the time, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was tons of layoffs happening within the whole tech sector. So end of the month happened, didn't find anything. So I was like, you know, I left the job, I finished closing out whatever deals I had, passed on the rest of them to the other account executive that was there, and then ended up leaving without another job. So kind of just living off of savings. And at one point it kind of just starts like, things were just like, okay, well, you know, we can't just continue to keep living off of savings. At the time, like I was the one that was working from our in our home. My girlfriend, she was in school, so she was in school full time. Well, my ex-girlfriend, we'll talk about that too. But she was in school full time, and I was like, damn, okay, well, you know, you're the man of the house. You got to figure it out. You gotta go out there. You gotta hustle. You gotta figure out how you're gonna make things happen, how you're gonna make things work. And you know, like, I'm the type of person that, like, I wouldn't say toxic, but I would say like I'm the type of person who believes like you can be sad, but don't kick yourself down and say I'm depressed. You know, I don't feel like doing this, because when you don't feel like doing it, you still have to do it. You know, if you have to provide, if you have to bring food to the table, if you have to provide shelter, if you have to get those things done, like it doesn't matter if you're sad. You got to pick yourself up and you got to do it. So yeah, was kind of going through that. Ended up going and like started working Uber, was just doing like Uber, taking my interviews, and really like looking for any other way that I could make more money in the meantime. That's kind of like when I started. One thing that I've always been interested in is trading, like day trading, stock trading. So I kind of started getting into that. Started kind of like just doing it, you know, and trying to learn more and more about it. And ultimately was like, okay, I feel pretty confident in it. Made the mistake of saying I was super confident in it already because I was paper trading. No real emotions involved when you're paper trading. It's just basically you're trading fake money. And I was like, okay, like I feel like I'm pretty confident at this. So overall, like what ended up happening there is I basically put money into the stock market, the little bit of money that I had still, and as well as my ex. She ended up helping me out and funding my first account. I was like, okay, we need to get it over 25,000 so that way I can actually day trade. Literally, like within the first 2 days, I lost $2,000, and I was like, damn. I kind of was like, I was here. I was like, okay, I found my way out. I found the thing that's gonna like get me to not even need a job, because I'm making $900 a day paper trading, so I can do this, you know. And ended up losing like $2,000 of real money, literally the first 2 days that I started trading. So that was rough, because I was like, yikes, okay. I wasn't expecting this, and quickly realized trading was not how it was when you paper trade, because now there's real emotions. Like your psyche starts getting messed up. Like you don't approach things the same way that you do whenever you're trading fake money. So yeah, kept working, because I was like, okay, like, you know, we can't just keep losing money. Kept doing Uber, kept doing my interviews. and eventually stumbled upon a job, which is where I'm at right now, which is basically another SDR role. It's more of a senior SDR role. However, I think one of the main reasons that I took this job, because I was at a point where I was like, okay, I don't just want to take another job just to have a job. I want to take another job where I can build and where I can grow myself, and if I want to continue being at that job for years, then I have that opportunity, and I have the opportunity not just to be there, and have that security that this job isn't going to go anywhere, but I can also grow with that company. So ended up being at the job where I'm at right now. I ended up interviewing here, and was a good fit, I think. And so far we're about a year in. In February, we're going to be a year in. I have already kind of started dabbling more into like more leadership roles, like more management stuff, getting a little bit more into it, just so I can start kind of like getting my feet wet and learning more about that. Because ultimately, I think I decided that while AE used to be my like big thing to kind of like aim towards, it's not. I think me personally, I want to be in a role where I can help others and where I can teach others, and where I can just be a resource for others, right? So yeah, I think I'm very good at where I'm at right now. I think it meets the things that I want. I think there's always going to be room for improvement, but I think overall it's a company that listens, and it's a company that you can have these conversations with and say, hey, I don't agree with this, or I'm a little confused about this, or why can't we do this way? And they'll hear you out. So yeah, so I've been here, been feeling good. Things were kind of going great, and about literally a year ago, maybe not a year ago, maybe like 8-9 months ago, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to get back into YouTube and start making videos, because I didn't want to make a video where I was preaching something that I wasn't doing anymore. Like, I'm not gonna preach to you guys about some of the best practices in sales, things that you can do, when it feels a little disingenuous when I'm no longer doing that. If I'm Ubering and if I'm over here trying to hustle and find a job, like that feels a little bit disingenuous to me. To be telling you guys, this is how you do this, because I'm not doing it on my day-to-day. I'm not doing it. But yeah, so literally like 8 months ago, 7 months ago, I started rethinking that of like, okay, I'm at this job, I'm feeling good, I'm hitting quota, and things are looking better. I think I'm at a point where I want to get back into making videos, right? Just when I thought like the career part had figured itself out, then started having problems like with my now ex. We were together for almost 4 years, living together. She ended up moving back in with her family, and then things just kind of started taking more of a bad turn in that section of my life, and I ended up moving out. She ended up moving out. We kind of tried to make it work, and then eventually it kind of just fell apart. And yeah, not gonna lie, like that kind of like messed with me, like when it comes to work, when it comes to like my personal life. But I ended up feeling, again, I'm grateful for where I work at. I think it's a place where I can tell them, like, I can be genuine with them and tell them, hey, you know what, I'm a little bit distracted because I'm going through some stuff, but ultimately it's a business and you have to perform and you have to get yourself back up, right? So yeah, ended up going through that breakup, and kind of like really kind of just feeling lost, because you plan your whole future with this one person, and you're like, this is what our plan looks like, and these are our goals to aim for. And now all that is kind of just gone, and you're starting from zero. And I'm 28 years old now, and like we were in talks about like a family and stuff like that. But anyways, ended up kind of like saying, okay, well, you can stay down here, like you can literally throw away all the work that you've been putting in the last couple of years to get yourself to a more stable position, and you can throw all that away because you're feeling sad and because you're going through all this. Or you can feel sad for yourself a little bit, but realize that that's not where life ends, and we're not going to go back to where we were. Like, we're not just going to throw all the other stuff away. Yeah, you know, it sucks this relationship didn't work out. Best of luck to her. But we got to keep going. We got to pick ourselves back up, because ultimately you had goals even before you met her, and you had that drive even before you met her. So, you know, like, the road is like, maybe the map isn't clear right now to what your goals are going to be now. You know, you have that drive for you, you know, you have those aspirations to want to do better. So let's keep pushing forward. It's all about momentum, and you got to keep going forward. And yeah, I mean, I took a little bit of time to really kind of just continue to push myself forward. Best things that you can do whenever you're feeling down, I think, that I've learned from at least in my personal experiences, try to acknowledge it, and try to acknowledge the fact that it sucks. And, you know, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, and it's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel sad. It's not okay, though, to just stay stuck there, because it's just going to drag you more and more further behind. And it's going to get to a point where it gets you even more depressed, because now you're in a worse place, and it's just a cycle. So I think the best thing that I could have done for myself in this situation is do what I always do, which is push forward, have momentum, and, you know, just keep yourself busy. If you keep moving forward, if you keep pushing forward, like, yeah, you know, the feelings are still there, and they're going to hit you once in a while, but you got to keep pushing forward. So, yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of what's been going on in my life. And again, I apologize that I kind of just left. I did try to make sure that I was still answering questions on LinkedIn, as well as on Instagram. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with my life. However, we're still working on some things in our personal life. I'm trying to continue doing better in my job. I want to feel that sense of accomplishment. But we've now taken up this new passion, honestly, I would call it. I feel like I kind of just got hit with the bug of trading, where I've realized that, like, there's so much that I can do. Like, there's so much, like, if there's one thing I've learned about myself during this time, is that I'm a super resourceful guy. And like, I'll think, like, there is no box for me. I don't think outside the box. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard this quote from Fast and Furious. I don't just think outside the box, I tear it up. So I think that's one thing I've learned about myself. I think I'm going to continue growing this channel. I'm going to keep posting every single week, and I'm going to keep coming back and making even better content, trying to provide as much value to everyone that's watching as possible. And also talk about some of those other things, you know, that people do. I think the goal for this channel is to not just become a tech sales. I think at the foundation, sales is always going to be a thing in this channel, whether that's tech, whether that's other sectors. Sales is always going to be that foundation. But there's going to be other things, like other side hustles, how to be resourceful, how to network, how to build a good circle, how to trade if you want to get into trade, how to start a business, how to start an LLC. We're going to be interviewing other people that are actually doing these things as well. Like, my plan is to interview people that are in real estate, interview people that are business owners, barbershops, like people that I've met during this journey that I feel like other people can benefit from knowing their story and how they got to where they're at right now. So if you want to come along for the ride, subscribe, hit the notification tab, because like I said, I want to bring value to everyone, and I want to make sure that all of these things that I've learned in this journey, all of these times that I fell, I want to make sure that I bring those learning experiences and I share them with other people, and to let other people know that whenever they're going through something, like, there is so much that you still have ahead of you. You know, your life sometimes feels, let's say this is your life. Your life sometimes feels like it's stuck right here. And there's this big wall and there's this big hurdle. But like, if you just get over it, if you figure out how to get over it, you put all your energy, all your effort, you put in some momentum, you break through, like, you still have so much more. And yeah, I think my goal is to continue helping out and to continue to grow this channel. So like I said, if you guys are down for the journey, feel free to subscribe, because we're gonna kill it. Like, I promise you that right now, we're gonna kill it. Because one thing I can promise you is that we are gonna be winning. Like, in this channel, like this community that I'm trying to build, this channel, like it's here to help everybody out level up, and it's here to continue pushing and to continue to make sure people meet their goals, and that you don't just fall flat and just stay there. Like, it's okay to fall flat. It's okay to take a step back, but we're not just gonna stay there. We're gonna follow through on things that we want to do. We're gonna be men and women of our word, and we're not gonna break promises, especially to ourselves. If we promised ourselves that we're gonna do great things, if we promised ourselves that we're gonna reach our goals, and we're gonna whatever, I mean, it's 2025. Whatever you promised yourself that you're gonna do, you're gonna do it. And you guys are gonna be able to see myself holding myself accountable, as well as I'm gonna be sharing some tools that I'm gonna be using to hold myself accountable for my 2025 goals, as well as you guys will be holding yourselves accountable. And that's what I hope for everyone. Next year, we don't want to be in the same position where like, kind of fell flat on this goal. Didn't really hit this one, but yeah, we're gonna keep pushing forward. So subscribe. Like I said, I want to make sure people are along for the ride, and I know some people are gonna just kind of come in as we're going, and I want to make sure that we document these things, because I want to make sure that we document from when we're starting. But yeah, thanks for everyone. Thanks for watching this video. Again, if you have been subscribed since a couple years back, I really appreciate the heck out of you, and I hope to continue to bring you value and continue to help out. So yeah, bye everyone.